Hello and welcome to Stylish Chats with Creatives. Today on the podcast, I'm talking to Katie Suthers. Katie is an artist and painter based in Manchester. Hello.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good.
Good. We were just saying how we have been connected by a previous guest on the
Yeah.
podcast. So you know
Yeah.
Fran and
Yeah.
her partner.
Yeah.
You were saying you've worked for Fran's partner's family. Have you done artwork for them?
Yeah. So what they do? So they own a pub near me, and they are like the second pub that I've actually done windows and signs for. So like over the past 2-3 years, I want to say, they've always asked me to like do the windows and the signs, just like advertise what they do when they're opening, like what events they've got on, because they do like karaoke and things like that. So they're all on the window, and then obviously Christmas they just have it there because they're on a main road.
Yeah.
So make it as Christmassy as possible, really, yeah.
So you do quite a lot of windows and stuff. So like the illustrations on windows.
Yeah. Christmas is a hectic month. I'd say it was my first time doing it last year. Um, I think I did one Halloween window in the October,
Yeah.
and then it got shared about, and someone local had asked for a Christmas window. Did my first ever Christmas window. I think it was at the start of November, and then she shared it literally everywhere all over Facebook. And then I was fully booked up within a week from middle of November all the way through to the last week. I'd say the week before December, a bit Christmas, sorry. Yeah,
Whoa.
crazy. So I had a different full time job then. So
Yeah.
I was working 8:30, 5:30, Monday to Friday, and then doing a window after that, and then just weekend as well. So I think I did about a month and a half straight of just working every single day.
Whoa.
It was mad.
That's intense.
Yeah. So I've got my Halloween diary up and running at the moment, but I'm just a bit worried about my Christmas one opening now. I'm like, I don't know when to do it, but I don't know. I don't want to leave it too late like last year. So
Yeah, that's it. Because
yeah,
I was with my friend today in Middleton and we were going for a mooch and half the shops had already got the Christmas stuff out. And
yeah,
I'm like fed up of seeing Christmas stuff because I've styled all the Christmas stuff over summer. So I'm bored of it now. And then I'm like, for fuck's sake, it's still September.
yeah.
But then everybody's like getting earlier and earlier. Like, when do you start?
It's crazy. I went Tesco the other week, and they've already got Christmas stuff like that. Christmas aisle, they've got chocolates there, or Christmas chocolates. And it's like people were asking me when I'd finished my Christmas windows last year. I was getting messages in February and March this year. When am I open for Christmas windows? I'm like, not yet, babe, not yet. I could, like, I'm not a Christmas person until December hits.
Yeah.
Like, until December comes around, that's when I'll think about Christmas. So, trying to plan Christmas windows in September and telling people no in March, I'm like, no, I can't. I physically can't. Like, I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
But I've still got people messaging me like, can I book in for Christmas? And it's like, I've not opened my diary yet, but it's people who were booked in last year, so I know that the loyal customers. So
Yeah.
I get them booked in, and then I remember about a month ago I went through all my previous messages because I had to let a load of people down last year, but I didn't realise how many people I had to let down
Mm.
until I messaged the people a month ago, and it turned out I turned down about 45 people,
Oh my God.
and that was with working throughout December and half of November, fitting around one person during the week, and then 4 people Saturday, 4 people Sunday as well. So I counted them up, and I was like, it didn't feel like I'd let down 42 people or
Yeah.
45 people. But yeah, it was It was crazy. So now I know what I'm expecting this year.
Yeah.
And like, um, I just it's crazy. It's
It's
crazy. I get a bit nervous.
yeah, it's like, do you then start literally go and wipe off the Halloween windows and then go and do Christmas literally straight away? Like,
Luckily, they wipe the windows off because it's just all you need is hot soapy water and a sponge. Just wipe it off. So luckily, it's already been pre-wiped, like put all wiped off, and then I can just get straight to it. Like people have come to me like a day before and be like, "I've cleaned my windows for you. I'm so sorry they were so dirty." I'm like, I'm really not bothered, honestly. But yeah, they do wipe them off before I come, so that's a massive help. A massive help.
so when you're asked to do a window, do they leave the designs up to you, or do they give you kind of a bit of a brief? What's the score there?
Um, I remember when I first started it last year, I I didn't know like what sort of questions to ask. Like, do I ask them or do they tell me on the day or a week before? I don't know. But now, if I'm doing a window, um, say like for Easter or something, and they've messaged like 2 weeks before, I'll ask them like a week beforehand, and then I'll confirm with them on the day if they still want that design. And then, because I ask them to send me a picture of the windows as well,
Hmm.
just so I can see roughly how big they are. Because sometimes when you take photos of a window, it looks a lot smaller than obviously than it is in real life. So I kind of like get a idea of like if it's a normal house window, then I know like how roughly big they are. But if it's like a salon window, then I know that I have to double the size.
Mm.
But yeah, I'd say about 95% of the time, people have told me the designs beforehand, and then it's all confirmed on the day. But um, I've had people where they've told me on the day, and it's no biggie. They just say if it's a Christmas window, like, oh, I want Grinch themed. I'm like, okay, I'll do Grinch themed for you.
Yeah.
Quite easy, to be fair.
That's really cool that you can just think, right, okay, I'll do this. And like on the
Yeah,
spot, you're able to think quite quickly on your feet like that. That's really good.
yeah. Usually, like if it's anything else, then I've got no hope whatsoever. But like, if someone comes to me with an idea, they're trusting me to bring that idea to come to life. So I try my best. I look at like a few ideas on like Pinterest or like Google Images just to get like a rough idea. Because usually like I have to have the picture on my phone to kind of copy it on the window. Um, but yeah, it's if when people come back to you and like give like complimenting what you've done, it it just changes it all, and like it gives you more confidence to, and you're not bothered if people come to you on the day or a week before um about the ideas. So
Yeah, because you know you're confident in doing stuff if you've had
yeah,
that. Yeah. Yeah. I understand
last
that.
year it was different, but like now it's I'm used to it now. So it's nothing
Yeah.
new anymore, so it's fine.
Yeah. It's like taking that fear out of something, right? So like
Yeah,
the first time you do it, there's a little bit of fear and you're a little bit scared and you're a bit nervous and you've got all these feelings, and then actually just getting on and doing whatever you're doing. And then you go, oh well, what was I so scared of? Because
exactly, exactly, and that's what it's like. I'm really bad. Like when it comes to new things and things like that, I've got really bad anxiety over it, and like just taking that one little step just freaks me out.
yeah,
But then like, when you push into the deep end, there's literally nothing you can do. But sometimes it's turned out to be the best thing that's happened. So I do in the moment. I'm like, oh god, why? But like further down the line, like a couple of months down the line, looking back on it, like you just think, I'm glad that's happened.
yeah. And I think my friend said to me that even if you start something, it doesn't have to be perfect as soon as you start it, because you can work on stuff throughout and it'll evolve anyway. And I
Yeah,
think like that was the best thing someone could have said to me, because they said to me about this podcast
yeah,
and they were like, well, if you don't start it, if you try and make it perfect, you're not even going to try.
yeah.
And I was like, actually, yeah, you just got to break out of that, haven't you?
Yeah, that's what happened. Like when I look back on doing my first window last year compared to what I've produced now, I wouldn't have thought that I was capable of doing it at all. Like I was just starting out at my old job, which was a pub, just doing like the odd glass writing for offers and things like that. And then like about a month and a half ago, I did a wall mural outside. It's like I wouldn't have ever thought of that happening ever, from just doing a glass board in my old
Yeah.
job to doing someone's wall outside. It was crazy, absolutely crazy.
That's amazing, though. Congratulations, because that's amazing.
Yeah, when like I've had like a few messages where like they'll ask me for quotes and stuff, and because I was just starting out, like I weren't charging a lot, so and I know I'm not charging a lot, but like I've not got to that point where I feel that confident in actually charging what I'm worth. Because I enjoy it, and at the end of the day, it's practice for me. And then like some people like they don't go through with like it's like, oh, how much would this be, and what they want on a wall, and I'll tell them and whatever, and then I just don't hear back. But this couple, lovely couple, they booked me in, and then I got all these colours from B&Q, and I had to get them all pre-mixed because they wanted it like for Pride, like all colourful and everything like that.
Mm.
And I think it took about 45 minutes for the guy at B&Q to mix all my paints. So I had to get like these little, well, I won't say the little, like they're quite big for a sample paint, and I think I ended up getting 16 or 17 sample pots in the end. Yeah, he weren't happy with me. But he was like, you need to come back and show me this wall because mixing these paints were just, it just sent him west. I felt so bad, but I just needed them.
Yeah. And I think it's important to know your worth as well. But also, I understand that when you're first starting out with your business, it's really hard to say to people, it's this and
Yeah,
it's X, or, because also me and another friend have spoken about this actually. It's knowing your worth, and then kind of like, is the saying cutting the wheat from the chaff or something like that? So
I think,
you only get the good people in the end, because they're the
yeah,
ones willing to pay the price for your creativity. And some
yeah,
people don't see value in creativity either, even though it's everywhere. Someone's
yeah,
had to create everything,
literally.
and like people don't see value in it. But there's so much value in having artwork around and just bringing joy to people's lives as they're walking past shop windows and stuff.
Yeah, it's like when I've done shop like salon windows and things like that. It's nice. Like there's there's this dog groomers that I do in the middle of this village, and everyone walks past, and like the kids are pointing, or like old couples, or anyone will just stop or like stare and like put the thumbs up or something to me, and like it's nice for that to happen because when you when you're painting that on a window, it'll take like 2, 3, 4 hours, and you can get lost in it. Like you don't actually realise people are looking at what you're doing, and like I've been told like people stop and take pictures and things like that, and it's like you don't expect it to happen at all.
Yeah.
And like when you see it on like people's Instagrams and things like that, like it takes me like a few seconds to click to think that I've actually done that. Like people go, "How have you done it?" I'm like, "I don't know. I genuinely don't know. It just happens, honestly." But I've been told like, if like people will end up taking piss, like basically, if you do keep charging so little, and I have had that. Um, that's just another story to tell. But they say like if people want to pay, then they will pay, whether you're charging a tenner or 60 quid or 100 quid. Whoever wants to pay will pay that money,
Yeah.
and I need to get that in my head. But I just feel really bad because obviously with the cost of living and everything, it's just
It swings and roundabouts though, because
yeah,
with the kind of decline of people going on the high street, people need that extra reason for people to go into their shop.
yeah,
So it's kind of like an advertising thing.
yeah,
So it's like they'd spend the money on boosting their posts on Instagram and stuff. So why not spend the money on making the front of your shop look cool? Like,
yeah, exactly.
you know,
That's what I mean.
it's difficult. It is hard as well when to price yourself when you're first doing something, and because you're doing something so unique as well,
Yeah,
and that's so tailored to each shop or business that you're going to, it's hard to gauge unless you kind of did like a package thing where you did like one big window that's, I don't know, 3 meters wide by 2 meters high or
yeah,
whatever, and set that at a price and this at a price, or but I suppose that will come as you build your portfolio and you can show people like, here's the Christmas windows. If you want something that's just around the edge, it's X. If you want a whole full
yeah,
window, it's this, and anything in between, so it just takes time, and it is confidence as well.
yeah. Yeah, confidence. People don't realize that confidence does like has a massive toll on a lot of things. And when if you feel like you're not confident in what you're doing, you're not going to show it in your artwork or anything that you do really. Like if you don't feel like you're confident in doing something, it's just not going to turn out how you want it to. And I've learned that a lot of the times, and you get stressed out, and then you just like, I can't do it, or I don't want to do it because it's just not working. But it's just it's easy to say, like, to start thinking positively, and you need to start thinking better about yourself, but it's you have to be in that mindset to do that. Everyone in 7 billion people can tell you it, but if you don't feel like you in that you are in that headspace, then it just doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, like, hormones as a woman really affect your confidence as well. Because
Yeah.
sometimes you're just like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like, fucking everyone hates me. Nobody hates me. Just my hormones fucking hate me.
Honestly, like the hell that I put my partner through, Liam. Honest to God, I'm so up and down. I'm like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I just hate doing it. I can't do it. And then an hour later, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I can do it. It's fine.
Yep. Welcome
Honestly,
to owning your own business as a woman.
yeah. Welcome to being a woman.
Yeah, that's it.
Honestly, it's crazy.
It's so mad. So, have you always been into drawing and illustrating and things like that since you were a kid?
Yeah, definitely. I think, I can't remember. Like, how kids always draw and stuff like that. But I'd say I've probably been drawing, like, sketching or whatever, since I were about, I'd say, 6, 5 or 6. Obviously, when you're a kid, like, I've kept it all, and I've looked back on it and I'm like, that is so bad. Honest to God, the sketches that I used to do, like, of characters and things like that. Like, have you ever seen on Facebook where, like, they do half and half, like, what they did so many years ago compared to now? I'd shared something, um, like an old post of my drawing, and someone said you need to do it, and I'm like, it'd be too embarrassing to do it. Like, just to show. Obviously, you're a kid, like, I were only 5 or 6, but from then, like, I found drawing in primary school like a bit of an escape, really, and same in high school as well. Loved art in high school. Did art as a GCSE, and then I stopped. I just stopped drawing for about 4, 5 years, I think. Dabbled into it a bit, but never actually thought of doing it like full time. And then I, that's when I was working at this pub, my first job, when they'd asked me to do the glass sign board, it just kicked off from there. Um, and like, I've just done it. I did it on and off, and I'd say within the past year, nearly 2 years actually, I created the Katie's Creations business, and then just started doing something more and more regularly.
Mm.
And now I just can't find the time to do it. It's crazy how, like, just in nearly 2 years, how much just changes.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, you don't think it's ever going to happen, but it does. And like, I've always been like looking into the future sort of person until like a few years ago. Like, you just see it as like take each day as it comes or whatever. But looking back on things, it's a whole different concept. Like, from what I used to be like with drawing to now, like, I can't find enough time to do it.
yeah. It's striking that balance, though, isn't it? If you're still working full time and then striking that balance of needing to work full time to make sure your bills are paid and then doing something that you really love as well, and
Yeah,
having that balance of like, how regular can your creative thing be to then
exactly.
knock down a little bit of full time and kind of,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I'm hoping. I'm going to be going part time next month, so I'll have 2 days where where I won't be in work. So, and then I'll be working 3 days. Um, so I'm hoping that'll make a difference. Like, I've worked out like money in situations like that. Like, my bills are covered with my full time wage,
yeah,
and then whatever I get from the art stuff, whether it kicks off or it doesn't, I don't know. It'll just be a bit of a bonus. Just put it in the savings pot or something like that, and just start saving then, whilst all my debt's covered.
yeah. That's it, though. It's like kind of balancing it out because it's scary and it can be really intimidating to just be like, right, I'm balls deep in this. I'm jumping, and
Yeah,
actually like testing the waters for like a year or so and just being like, right, okay, now I'm actually too busy. Now I've
yeah,
got too many clients. Now I'm traveling around too many towns doing all this. And
yeah.
like, it's having that little balance, isn't it?
Mm, yeah. And I feel like at the moment it's just a bit of a waiting game on like when the balance is actually gonna start happening. Like with working full time, I can't really balance like healthily really until I actually do go part time. Then I can try and figure out what I can do then, because then I'll have 4 days of doing art stuff, catching up and everything, and then 3 days I'll be working my full time job then,
Yeah.
or part time job, and then whatever else after that. But rather than only having really 1 or 2 days and then half an evening each night, it I'm hoping, but it should make a massive difference.
Because then hopefully you'll be able to have a rest as well, which I think like I've only come to realize probably in the last like 5 years. I'm a bit older than you, and it's taken me a long time to realize that actually sitting and resting is productive as well, because then you're not burnt out to do your next round of like big jobs or whatever. And
Yeah,
that's a really hard balance, isn't it?
yeah. I remember seeing a quote, literally what says that, saying like, "Don't feel guilty of relaxing because that is also being productive." Like a lot, like this is including myself. Like a lot of people find relaxing or just chilling boring, and if I'm not doing something, then I just feel lazy.
Mm.
But I know, like everybody knows, like the body, like when they're about to be on the brink of a burnout, then your body's asking for rest. And I think I've had I want to say about 4 or 5 burnouts this past year, and I just keep ignoring like the signs of like my body is telling me to get like Katie, put everything down and just go to bed.
Yeah.
And then it'll floor me for like a week. And it's like that week where I'm in bed, I I could have just easily avoided that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've got to be on the go all the time until I go to bed, and then my mind's still on the go, so I'm never actually having a rest. But it, like you said, it's trying to find the balance of work life and then your personal life, and not spending too much on one or too much on the other. It's just
Yeah.
they're trying to find the balance in it.
Yeah. And I think everybody's balance looks different, doesn't it? So comparing to other people almost makes you feel worse sometimes,
Yeah.
because like my other half's a truck driver, so he doesn't get very many days off like where
Mm.
I'm off.
Yeah.
And then he's come home tonight and he put in for overtime tomorrow, and they haven't got enough work. So he called me on the way home and he was like, guess what, I'm off tomorrow. And I was like, because I thought he was working, I've booked
Mm.
in client phone calls, I've got to take the hire car back, I've got, because I fill up my days when
Full
he's at
day
work.
planned.
Yeah. So I'm like, guess what you're doing, you're coming with me.
You're in the car. You're the passenger princess tomorrow.
Yeah. But you have to balance stuff out. And like I just got back from my parents. My parents live in France,
Mm.
and I put an out of office on, and I
Yeah.
still got a phone call from a client whilst my out of office was on. And she called me and was like, hey, it's so and so. And it came up just with a number, not her name. So I
Yeah.
thought my car's been in the garage, and I thought, oh shit, it's the garage, ringing to say
Yeah.
that's the problem. So I just picked up, and then she was like, hey, I'm ringing to discuss this. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but I'm on holiday, so we need to pick this back up next week. And she was like,
Yeah.
oh, and like, she was like, bye, and like put the phone down. But like, it's so hard, because then I'm thinking about the thing we need to talk about, the topic we need to talk about.
Yeah.
And then you're like trying not to think about it, because you're like, I just need to chill out, or like getting the odd text, or actually got an Instagram message about work. And it's
Mm.
like, obviously you can't put an out of office on Instagram.
Mm.
So there's things you just quickly answer, and then they're
Yeah.
buzzing around your head, and you're like,
Yeah.
but I also
Yeah.
need to rest. I need to sit and read my book,
Yeah.
not think about anything, go for a swim, go for a walk or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Honestly.
it's so hard to stop.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing a video as well where it was like you making sacrifices for a small business. Like if you're wanting to be a business and have it grow and everything like that, you've got to make sacrifices. But like you got to think those sacrifices can just cause, like I said, like a burnout, or like you're not spending time with your family or like your partner or anything like that. What actually is quality time? And I know it's like a job, but at the end of the day, like your health and your family and your friends and everything is more important than a job.
Yeah.
But I, I mean, I say that, but I don't go by it though. It's like money, 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 like literally all the way through my head all the time.
But I do think you're right. Like, if you don't stop, your body forces you to stop.
Yeah, and then you just take in an unwanted or an unneeded amount of time because it, like I said, it can be easily avoided,
Yeah.
and trying to play catch up after that, and like people still messaging you, and then you're worrying about like you were meant to get something done during that week, and now you've got to push it further and delivering and posting and everything like that. You got that worrying, and then it's like a never-ending cycle. Like you're not actually getting any better.
Yeah.
So you're getting worse every day thinking about it all.
Yeah. When actually, like that week where you're off with burnout, if you had like a couple of hours each week where you were just like, right, I'm just going to rest, that
Mm.
burnout wouldn't happen, or it wouldn't be intense, would it? Because it had just, you
It
know,
lasts like 1 or 2 days, not like a week or two. Like it, it just it's hard to get out of it as well. Like getting out of the habit where you're just constantly working or you're just constantly in overdrive, and then you always think like, oh, I'm gonna learn from this last burnout, and you don't, you don't, because a week or two later you're back in the same rut then, and you're like, oh God, what am I doing?
yeah.
And you just think about all your life choices and and go back to the same stuff again.
Yeah, it's hard, but it is worth it. Like having that balance, and like you say, running a small business is sacrifice, but there's certain sacrifices I don't think are worth it.
No,
But it's finding out what that's like for you, because, like I say, it's different for everybody, isn't it?
yeah, exactly, exactly. I remember with it being my first Christmas period of doing windows, I was just so busy, and Liam had actually booked Iceland for my birthday because my birthday is in December. So then we went. I think it was the second week of December we went, and honest to God, it was the most chilled out holiday. Like I said to Liam, I was like, it's the most relaxed I've ever been in my life. Like I don't know what it were because it was -14, like, but it weren't actually pretty. Like it were freezing, but like it was just the atmosphere as well. Like Iceland, it's such a beautiful country. Like it, it gives like Manchester vibes, but not as crowded or loud. It's just like the buildings all look the same.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know why it were. But I just said to him like, I don't want to come home because I've never been so chilled out in my life.
We felt the same. We went for our honeymoon about, oh God, 5, 6 years ago, maybe. I've forgotten how long I've been married for. Um, and we felt the same, but we wondered if it was more that even in the city, you can kind of still see the mountains and you're near the sea, and like
Yeah,
it's just very naturey. So it's kind of, you don't feel overwhelmed that you're in a city, or like,
yeah,
you know, a much slower pace of life, and
yeah.
makes
Um,
all the difference.
yeah, because with Iceland, like you had your harbour and everything, and you had the city centre, but it weren't. It didn't feel like a city centre. Like there were the odd pub where it was just packed because I think it was. I can't remember. I think it were either the Euros or the World Cup. Because I
Mhm.
remember Liam wearing an England top, and he was like, "I'm doing it for the boys." And he watched it at night on his phone because we couldn't get into a pub where it just it was just rammed.
Yeah,
But even then, like it felt normal in a way. But like on the streets and everything like that, it it weren't quiet, but it weren't busy. Like
yeah,
it was in between, and it was lovely. It was
yeah.
really lovely.
It's so nice. Like we want to go back and do like you can do a road trip all the way round, can't you? Around the big
Yeah.
road. We want to do that. But we went in October. I remember us going in October, and the hire car we got was a Toyota Aygo. So it's like the tiniest little shittiest car.
How are you meant to fit everything in it?
Well, let alone that, like the wind literally was sweeping the car like off to one side the whole time. It was like a constant battle against the forces.
Oh no, no, no! I'd freak out. I would freak out.
It was bad. It was bad. I think if we'd go again, it would get like a pickup truck or something.
Yeah, 100%. And you got your space then as well.
Mm,
And
yeah.
if it's windy, you won't be feeling it. You'll be going side by side.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, so you mentioned to me before, off air, that you'd been to uni but quit twice.
Yeah.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
So I've always been like that person where I've got to study and then I had life planned out. Like I wanted to, get my GCSEs, do my A levels, which I did, and then like I wanted to get a psychology degree and go down the clinical psychology route. And I always had that in my head. Like my tutors in college, they always pushed me. It was like right, the they like did like these small groups, every tutor group, and was like right, we want you to apply for Russell groups and like to get you out there, because like depending on your grades, sorry, um, and if they saw potential in you, then they wanted you to go down that route. So we're like kind of give me like a boost. Well, I always wanted to go to uni. Like just I don't know. I think it like just having a degree and the cap and gown and everything like that, and just doing something that I actually enjoy. So I ended up um, getting into University of Manchester, and the I didn't realise when I were applying like how high the grades had to be. I think you had to get into University of Manchester to do psychology. You had to get 3 A's. And I remember opening my results and I got ABB, but I checked UCAS and I still got in. So I was like, I was a bit confused. So I'd asked my teachers, and I was 1 mark off both subjects.
Oh man.
So they was like, well, you still going to uni, but you can pay like I think like 60 to 90 quid per paper to have it marked. See if you got the grit like the score, but then you also had like the downside of it, like if they think like a question should be marked down, then they can mark you down for it. So I was like, one, I don't have the money for that,
Yeah.
and two, I've got in it anyway. So I commuted on the bus from Rochdale to Manchester. It took roughly between an hour and a half to 2 hours. Because I had to get the 17 into Manchester, then the 18 to Oxford Road. And sometimes I'd be setting off at like 5:30 in the morning for like a 8 o'clock lecture, and then I won't have a seminar until like 4 o'clock. So I'd have that gap. So I was doing that every day. So like 2 hours there and then 2 hours back because of work traffic and everything. And then I didn't really make any friends because like everyone was staying out there. Um, there was a girl who was in my health and social in college who I went with, and then we'd met this other girl who weren't staying there, and we became like a bit of a trio sort of thing. And then I just decided I just didn't like it at all. I didn't. It felt not posh, but felt too much for what I felt like I deserved at that point. So I was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me. So literally, I started in the September, dropped out at the beginning of the November, um, and then I think about a year later, I'd heard about the Open University, um, and I think when were it now? It must have. It was February 2020. I'd started, and I only remember because we were in lockdown then. Yeah, was it March 2020 lockdown?
Yeah,
That seems so long ago.
I know.
I just remember studying in my back garden, like with it being sunny and everything. I was doing the assignments, whatever. So I ended up completing. I completed first year, and then I completed 2 modules out of 3 in my second year. I was going through like this. I was going through this bad patch, um, and I were I was in this apprenticeship job where I was getting underpaid and working so many hours. All of it was illegal,
Yeah.
but I just didn't like. They promised me at the beginning, like you put your uni work first. I was like, okay, that's fine. Um, that didn't turn out how I wanted it to turn out, so I ended up dropping out then because I were overdue. Um, I were overdue on my assignments, and then I was getting penalised for it as well. So I was like, I can't do it because I can't study. I've got all this shit going on.
Yeah.
So I dropped out then, and I've wanted to go back, but I used to do it when I was like on this 0 hour contract as well at this pub job. So I'd have like sometimes 3 or 4 days off during the week, so I could study then. And then sometimes, well, most of the time I didn't start work till 5, so I could study in the morning or afternoon. But working full time, it's hard trying to find the time to, when you're working all day, then you come home and then you've got to make tea, have a shower, blah, blah, blah. And then now doing this art stuff, there's not enough hours in the day at all. Um, so that happened, and then I've been with the job that I'm at now. They do like government funded courses for
Mhm.
free. So I just I'm currently signed up to one of them at the moment, and it's really like you get like a level 2 certificate out of it, and then you can move on to level 3, then possibly level 4, level 5, and everything like that. It's really interesting. It's like equivalent to like a diploma and an A level, then a degree and everything like that.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not like with the Open University, I was doing it part time, and even that, it felt full time.
Mm.
Um, so obviously the full time would be 3 years, but part time they split it over for 6 years, unless you wanted to turn it to full time. But with these courses, like you've still got a time limit, but you can be flexible around it as long as it's completed. You've got a tutor and everything who like help you and stuff. So I feel like sometimes I just like when I'm in college thinking, yeah, I want to go down this route and seeing everyone graduate and you're like, I could have been a graduate by now, but with all the work that actually goes into the degree, I don't think I was prepared for it. I don't think
Yeah.
anyone's prepared for it really, but I, at that at 18, fresh into a new scenery and everything like that, and then you got your seminars, your lectures, not really knowing anyone as well. It was just sensory overload, and then that were it.
Yeah, it's hard because I never went to uni. I went to look at a couple of unis and was going to do like I really liked printmaking, but then it
Mm,
stopped being cool. And
mm,
at 18, it's so hard to make a decision on something that's so costly as well, that's going to cost you an awful lot of money for, well, my other half's only just paid his off and he's 37
yeah,
and he dropped out as well. But it's such a costly, huge decision to make at such a young age to
yeah,
then go 10 years down the line, oh, I'm not really benefiting from this.
yeah. That's what I mean. Like some jobs don't actually like a lot of jobs do require a degree now, but then some jobs what you actually want to go into, you can just build it up from the bottom. Like it just takes similar enough years or a bit longer, but and still in the end, you you're not in debt.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I think a lot of people are more happy to kind of like mold people who are willing to learn into a
yeah,
role than people who jump in with a degree, think that they know everything. And
and
actually, yeah, like, but experience counts for quite a lot as well. So it's not
yeah,
just the theory of learning the degree, it's like actually being in that job. Because
yeah,
we find that with our job, like some stylists have got degrees now, but I'm 35, so
mm,
I've just trudged through experience.
yeah,
But it's you see some people come in and be like, well, it's like we do it like this, and it's like, oh god, like no,
yeah,
like by experience, because I've done 50,000 t-shirts on a mannequin, for example,
yeah,
this works best.
yeah,
But it's just learning things. I guess it's just a different way of learning, isn't it? Some people learn better by theory, some people learn better by like just sheer experience.
yeah. Literally, and like it'll say that you've got a degree and then you're going into a job. The people who've been there for years know the job, like,
Mm.
and I feel like some people get disheartened by that, like, oh, they've worked all these years for a degree, and then they don't actually get into something that they want to, or because I remember when we were applying for our universities, one of my teachers said like, "What do you want to go down? Like the route? What do you want to go down as?" And I said, "I really want to go down in clinical psychology." And she went, "I'd I should look for another route because she said about 6 or 7 um, people get get into it, and that's years after they've got a degree because it's such a small kind of job prospect clinical.
Yeah.
Um, it's harder to get into, and she said like her friend had got a degree and she didn't get into that sort of job until like 6 or 7 years later. And I feel like that kind of put me off a bit. But when you want to prove someone wrong, but that didn't end up working anyway. So, but it was just that stayed in my mind a lot. Like you don't have to have a degree to know your job or be experienced. Like you can do it from the bottom upwards. Like a lot of people haven't got a degree and they're so high up.
Yeah. And I
Takes time.
And I think as well, a lot of people change course as well. So, like my parents, my mum changed a little bit, but was like a teacher, swimming teacher, and then kind of went into the classroom.
Mm,
And my dad's been a roofer, but even within that, they've both then gone off on tangents. And like myself, I started off doing fashion styling, and now I'm still live.
mm,
And like you go off on tangents, and like your career isn't set out for you. You don't go and work for the same person at starting an apprenticeship when you're 19 and then work for them till you're 79 anymore.
yeah,
And like there's so many people who go, oh yeah, I'll do this now. And like a friend of mine does art therapy now as well, which is really cool. But she only picked that up like in her 30s. She was like, I'm going to go and do a course on this because this looks really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah,
There's always that kind of thing as well, isn't there? You can just
yeah,
see something that tickles your pickle and you're like, yep, I'm going to go for that and like
yeah,
give it a bash.
definitely. Like it doesn't like things don't seem the way that people make it out to be. And I think that's what disheartened me quite a bit with like brick uni. Like I were expecting a lot different than what I experienced. But again, like people love uni like if they stayed there or like they've got the nightlife and everything like that. But when you're commuting, you're not actually getting involved. You're just going to your classes or your seminars or whatever, and then you're going home. Then like you're back to reality. Like you're not actually staying over and meeting new people.
Mm,
I feel like if I stayed over, then I probably would have been a lot different. But money too
yeah.
costly.
Yeah. And I think as well, I remember my sister being at uni and like when it came to like her exams and stuff, she was like, I'm not going out drinking, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And she like literally zoned in and
Yeah,
like you could see how stressful it was as well, like, because you pushed and pushed and pushed.
yeah,
And then you've got knowledge coming in, stuff coming in that you need to learn, and then you've suddenly got to like spew it out in your own words in a dissertation or whatever. And like
yeah.
dissertations put me off. I was like,
Mm,
I don't want to write a 10,000 word essay on why I
yeah.
like a certain piece of art. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's you got to come up with your own question and everything. And like, I thought I was prepared for something like that because with our A levels, we did. I did a health and social A level, um, and there were two sides to it, so it counted as two A levels.
Mhm.
And then I did psychology, um, and with one side of the health and social, we had to do like case files and like I can't remember what they used to be, but they were classed as our assignments and they'd be like 200-300 pages long. I thought, you know what, if I could do that, then I can do a dissertation. And then I realised I can't even do an assignment what's only 1,500 words long. So I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I'm cut out for it for the time being. But like, just I don't know. It's just like with everything that's gone on through the years, like my art stuff and different jobs. Like I even thinking back then, like I don't think I'd be able to do uni if I were working full time as well. I don't know how people do it.
No, I don't either. I really admire people that can do
Yeah,
both. Really admire. And
yeah,
like I really admire people like yourself when you've got a full-time job and then you're doing a passion that you really love as well and trying to make a business out of it and like just working so hard to try and get the life that you want. It's
yeah,
so admirable. And like it makes me tired watching people as well. I'm like, I'm tired. You guys need a nap because I need a nap
yeah,
watching you.
yeah. Honest God, by the time the day's finished, I'm like, right, I need to go to bed. It'll turn like midnight or 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm up in like 7 hours. I think think I need to go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Mm,
Oh, it's been so nice to have a gas with you and find out like how you're starting your business as well. It's really
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's fun. It's nerve wracking. It's fun. It's just a whole whirlwind of emotions at this point.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't change it for the world. Wouldn't change it.
Oh, that's really good. That's really
Mm,
good. I've
mm.
got one final question that I ask everybody. I'm going to ask you, what inspires you?
Oh, that's a good question. um, I definitely. It's a. I don't know. Like definitely my mum and my dad and my auntie and Liam. Like people, like my friends and things like that. But I don't actually know what inspired me to do art. Like with the people behind me, especially my mum and Liam. Like they're always pushing me. Like I need, like you need to do this, Kate. Oh my god, look at this idea, what you can do. Like they give me new ideas every day, and like right, I'm gonna put your cards here, your business cards here, there, and everywhere. And I don't like because not. I mean, no one in my family that I know of is arty.
Mhm.
Um, so I've not really had that sort of inspiration in that way. But recently, I'd say over the past a year or two, Van Gogh, Vincent van Gogh has my heart all the time. I think I've been to 4 different exhibitions now where it's like where they've done Van Gogh immersive
Oh, yeah.
experiences. And I'd just been to Amsterdam in July with my friends away, and we went to the Van Gogh Museum, and I started crying. It was just he's just seeing real paintings there. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But I don't know. I feel like myself sometimes as well. Like I've got inspiration from myself because, like, when you think all the shit that you've gone through and whatever, like you've got through it and you're still here and you're doing this, you're doing that, and usually I don't think that way. But then, like when I speak to Liam or my mum or my auntie or my dad or whatever, like they always say, like, look how far you've come. And sometimes when I'm in a good mood, I always I do take a bit of time to myself and just think, I've done that. Like I sit down and look at my page or like a piece of artwork that I'm about to send off or something, and I go, I've done that. I say to Liam, I've done that. He's like, yeah, I know, you've done that. And I'm like, I know. But yeah, I'd just say, I'd definitely say my family, they've inspired me a lot to like to build everything up.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously myself trying to get it out there and everything. But yeah, Vincent van Gogh has my heart. Definitely.
Well, he's a good artist to look at, and like you can see his development journey throughout it and stuff, and it's just incredible. And like there's so many more artists that'll inspire you throughout the rest of your life, and
Yeah,
you know and it'll change and you'll be like, oh yeah, and I love that, and then you'll see something else, you'll be like, oh, I love that. And
yeah,
like, I bloody love going to a museum. I haven't been to that museum in years, not since I was a teenager. um but yeah,
yeah.
it's definitely worth like just sitting and immersing yourself in art is such a nice feeling. Just sitting and being like, I wonder what this person was thinking when they were painting this. Were they thinking,
Yeah, yeah. It's I like thinking about stuff like that. Like just seeing something and you're like, how has someone created that? Like it gives like just things like that gives you ideas and creations. Like there's like different cathedrals that I've been in, And just like the glasswork and things like that, it's just like, how has someone done that?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But yeah, it's just things like, just the small things that count the most.
Yeah, I agree with you. And
100%.
on that lovely note, I'm gonna leave it there because I think ending on a Vincent van Gogh note is a lovely one. Everyone should go and see his
Yeah,
stuff, and that museum especially.
yeah,
Just
100%.
oh.
100%.
Well, thanks so much for coming on to chat to me. I've really enjoyed listening to your journey, and the best of luck with all the Christmas windows that you're about to be immersed in yourself.
I need it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, follow, and share as it really helps this little podcast out. And if you have found value in the podcast and you have the means to, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. This will help keep the podcast going. Join me next week for another fantastic guest. Bye!